Yeah, they're complex. I mean, pandemics result in deaths across countries and across continents, and they can occur over a short period, so with SARS or influenza, or they can occur over a prolonged period like HIV, and those have different consequences. They have different consequences in terms of the numbers of people dying, and they can have different consequences in the social and political responses. And they can have different consequences in economic terms. And the behavioural responses are sometimes as profound on social and economic and political consequences as the pathogen or bug itself. So they generate different concerns amongst different sectors of society. And those concerns can generate security concerns in of themselves, whether they're directly attributable to a bug or whether they're a result of behavioural perturbations.
What can organizations, we consider security threat organizations, do in Singapore with the reservoirs, with the MRT tracks? What could they possibly do?
Yeah, I mean, Singapore, well, first of all, try not to generate enemies. And if you do have enemies, try and know who your enemies are and what their capabilities are. There are different tools, I suppose, at the disposal of terrorists, and some of those are around generating interventions that cause a lot of deaths, and that in itself creates panic. But some other things may not generate lots of deaths, but they still may generate panic, and the nature of the intervention actually is something that has the potential to generate panic, and panic in societies is usually detrimental. It's irrational, I suppose it's irrational behaviour. So is Singapore vulnerable? Yeah, it's vulnerable. We know it's vulnerable because of the economic impacts of past experiences, of SARS, of H1N1, highly interconnected societies that are dependent upon people functioning and behaving in relatively rational ways are vulnerable. In the past, people have raised comparisons, and I think a comparison is quite interesting when you compare what would be the effect of a pandemic in Afghanistan compared to what would be the effect of a novel agent and a pandemic in Singapore. And a pandemic in Afghanistan may be relatively minor because people have a great deal of other things to worry about: roadside bombs, insurgency, food, family security, jobs, and so forth. And those worries are different in Singapore. And so the consequences, the felt consequences, not necessarily the number of deaths per population, they may be the same, but the felt consequences are that much more profound in highly interconnected societies.